Hello students of class 9. Today I am going to teach you a poem on killing a tree by Gieve Patel. Before going into the poem, let me give you a notion about who our poet was. Our poet, Gieve Patel, was not only a poet but at the same time a painter, a playwright, and also a physician. He was involved in the Green movement. Now, before starting the poem, let us talk about what the poem may be on. The title of the poem is on killing a tree. Now, we all are aware of the fact that trees are of immense importance to our environment and to each and every living creature. Trees give us so many things for our peaceful, healthy sustenance and survival in this universe. It is our noble duty to preserve and conserve the trees for our own welfare and to keep a peaceful harmony in our Mother Earth. Instead of conserving trees, nowadays human beings have become so selfish, so overtly civilized that they are cutting trees in order to establish settlement without foreseeing the consequences of cutting trees randomly. So trees are very, very important to us, and it is high time that we should understand that we have to conserve trees. Now, the poem on killing a tree by Gieve Patel. On killing a tree. The title is very much ironical and satirical in nature. Here, the poet describes a felonious way how human beings cut the trees, how ruthlessly we cut trees, thinking that it would be helpful for us, not realizing that it is indeed very much harmful for us. So the poet is telling on killing a tree. It is an irony, it is no doubt an irony, because the poet, through this irony, through this satire, that is speaking just the opposite about killing a tree, the way a tree is cut ruthlessly, actually wants us to feel, to understand the grave situation prevailing now. He wants us to be aware of the fact that trees are essential and it's high time that we should stop cutting trees. On killing a tree, you must have observed people cutting down trees. But can they kill a tree? Is it easy to do so? Let's read the poem and find out what the poet says on killing a tree. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. So you see, right from the beginning, the poet wants us to realize that killing a tree is a very, very difficult and a tedious task. It is an irony, it is a satire that the poet wants to convey to us. He wants to say that it is a very difficult task. So why should we indulge ourselves in such a difficult task, and which is also harmful for us? So let us not kill trees, but instead conserve them, because it takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. Jab means a rough blow. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. Jab means a rough blow. You can cut a tree, you can chop a tree, but killing a tree totally, permanently is a very difficult task. So only a rough blow of the knife will not kill it. Why? Because it is not a story of a day. It is a long tale, the tale that was created long back, with roots indulged in the deep crust of the earth. So it is very difficult to kill a tree. Why? Because it has grown slowly, gradually, years after years, consuming means taking in the minerals, the earth, the soil, which helps a tree to grow, to flourish. Slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust, the core. So it is not formed in a single day. It took years to grow into a big, huge tree, and it is not so easy to kill it in a day. Slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crust. So you see, here it is personification. The tree is being compared to a person, to a human being. Feeding is a word that we use for human beings. So trees are personified, given the quality of a person. It is being feeded by our Mother Earth, and it takes all the minerals up and all the soil and water and sunlight, everything from her mother, that is the earth. And it is not formed in a day, it is a long tale. It has taken years to grow into the form. Years of sunlight, these are the requirements. Years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. So it is not formed in a single day. It took years to grow into a huge shape. And finally one day it comes out of its leprous hide. Hide means the bark of a tree, the rough outer surface of a tree. And suddenly one day the leaves are sprouted and the trees come out of the bark. Here it is telling leprous hide. Hide means the skin, the bark of a tree. Leprous means a person affected with leprosy. So if you see a person who is affected with leprosy, you will find that his or her body has a very pale color. The color of the skin is very pale. So here, similarly, the bark of the tree seems to be very colorless, rough and pale. So the skin of a person affected with leprosy is compared to the bark of the tree. So here it is the use of a metaphor.